Recording in progress.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
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 Good morning, honorable members. It's now 5 minutes past 10. I was just waiting for more members of the committee to log in. I see that there are still members that are outstanding, but I think in the best interest of time and to ensure that we achieve all the things that we have set ourselves for the day, we should commence without further ado. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you members of this select committee, and also wish to welcome the Minister for Public Enterprises who has joined us in this meeting. And of course, we have the board members and management of Safcol. We also welcome you. We welcome the officials of Parliament and the officials of the department. I see that we also have a couple of interested parties that are in attendance. Amongst others, I see that the Ahmed Katrada Foundation is also here present, which is a foundation that exists in honor of one of our struggle icons. Today, we will be getting a briefing by Safcol on projects carried out to develop Safcol's surrounding communities as part of the company's corporate social investment, which will be the main focus or the thematic area that they will focus on in briefing the committee here. Let me just now check with the Secretariat if we have any apologies, so that then we can move to the main item on the agenda. Amanda?
Thank you, Chair. I only received one apology from Honorable Ngwenya. Thank you, Chair. And Mamu Bibi, sorry, Chair, and Mamu Bibi, but she's on the platform.
Okay, she's here. All right. All right. Thank you, Amanda. Is there any other apology that may be coming from one of the stakeholders or the relevant offices that relate with us as a committee? None. Okay. Honorable
Excuse
members,
me, Chair. Sorry,
yeah.
Chair. I just received another apology from Honorable Nzube. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. No, wonderful. Let me just check with you, Amanda, even though at this stage it's not really something that matters. How many members are in the platform? How many are we as members of the committee that are present here? Just for the record.
For now, Chair, there are 3 members on the platform. There are 4 members on the platform.
There are 4 members. 4.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Let's then agree with the honorable members that are present that the members that are late for the meeting, they will find us moving. The meeting is recorded anyway, so they will have a way of getting to know what was the conversation and the narrative that we would have received from the department as well as Safcol. I don't want to waste any time further because this is a matter that does not even require a quorum, as it were, but just for us as a committee to be taken into confidence and be properly briefed of the developments, especially to the entities that account to us. Now, I want to take this opportunity to give a special warm welcome to the Minister who has joined us today. We know that the Wednesdays are very difficult because for the ministers, it's a cabinet day. So I did receive a note that the minister will not stay for the duration of the meeting because he has to go and join the cabinet. But we appreciate, Minister, that you have come so that you can lead the department, especially in giving us a high-level report and overview insofar as this entity is concerned. Much appreciation for your attendance, and I want to give you the first bite to actually give us an outline. You can take the podium, Minister. You are welcome.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to you, to the board chair and board members, colleagues from DPE. You're absolutely right, Chair. I've just stepped out of the cabinet meeting to firstly greet you, secondly to inform you that the board will go through the details. Thirdly, as you know, Safcol is one of our more stable entities, and the board has been excellent at steering the organization, both in terms of profitability, but also in terms of its responsibilities to the communities around the areas where Safcol actually works. You'd be aware that the CEO of Safcol is now the CEO of Denel, and the board will duly proceed with finding a CEO for the organization itself. But I think the key element here is the stability and sound management that we see it in Safcol, which should be an example to other SOEs as well. Last year, as you know, they paid a dividend for the first time of R1 million to government, and we hope the board will decide on a slightly bigger dividend at the end of the financial year, because this is an important contribution as far as the fiscus is concerned. So with those brief remarks, Chair, I'm going to seek your permission to excuse myself and go back to my cabinet meeting. Thank you very much. I hand over, once you are ready, to Mr. Baleni to lead the board and the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. So we will, of course, allow now the board to actually take us through the presentation as you have alluded, Minister. Thank you so much for that.
Good morning, Chairperson, honorable members, my colleagues from the board, Chairperson, I've got Sis Nonhlanhla Mabusela, Uslahlane Malema, Advocate Lintwe Mokhatle, and Date Bolton. We have got our acting CEO, as the Minister has indicated, Dr. Sibalo Dlamini, and he will introduce the executives from Safcol. Let me just invite him to do a quick introduction, Minister, before I take you through, Chairperson, before I take you through the initial part of the presentation, just so then we remove the introduction part. With your permission, Mr. Dlamini, can you introduce the executives?
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Chair and members of the committee. The executive team with me is the CFO, Mr. Dishon Human, and then Mr. Vishal Harichund, Executive Strategy and Commercial. We have also Ms. Masbulele, the executive in charge of information, Chief Information Officer, and also in charge of risk. We've also have got Klaas Mkobane. Klaas Mkobane is the acting COO, Lerato, our acting company secretary, and then Noktula Mariga, communications, and lastly then Calvin Chiwa and Hazel Banda. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. That done introduction, let me kickstart the presentation. As per the request from the Portfolio Committee, we appreciate this opportunity to share with you the work done by Safcol, although under challenging economic conditions. I notice your research report also does pick this up, especially load shedding and unstable economic condition in South Africa. That said, Safcol is making a great strides in socioeconomic and enterprise development. As you know, Chairperson, Safcol is an integrated forestry business operating in South Africa and Mozambique. We were established in 1992 under management of State Forestry Act number 128 of 1992. Primarily, is about development in the long term of the forestry industry according to accepted commercial management practice. Secondly, dual mandate, commercial viability, and socio-economic development. Chair, just in summary, the business of Safcol, you would see that there is Komati Forests, which is 100% owned by Safcol. We've got Kamhlambani Timber, which is also 100% owned. And then we've got Abacus Forestry, 100% owned by Safcol. Then we have 80% Ifloma owned by Safcol and 20% owned by Mozambique. We have briefed the minister will be making a submission that Mozambique wants to offload its 20%, and it has given us the first right of refusal. We will be discussing with the department, how do we manage that? Do we procure to get that into 100%, or how do we do that? So that is in the pipeline. The committee will be informed accordingly. With that introduction, let me invite Babu Dlamini to take us through the rest of the presentation in accordance with your expectation, Chair, and the committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thanks for the introduction. I will go straight then to the Safcol operations within South Africa. We have plantations which we use to support the industry at large. We also process some of our timber at Timber Dollar. We also have ecotourism. These this is our main source of revenue in the organization. So where we are as far as the company is concerned, looking at the 2022-23 results, we are a 1.2 billion company with a profit after tax of 231 million and a return on equity of 8.4. We are proud of our achievement in terms of the FSC certification. 26 years in a row, we've consistently maintained our certification. We've also achieved 82% of the shareholder compact targets. We are a level 2 BEE company. We've also shown progressive improvement in terms of our financial performance. We have an unqualified opinion 3 years in a row. We have not had any government guarantees and even funding. So we fund all our operations within the balance sheet that we have. Now, going straight then into the socio-economic objectives, the social impacts that we've embarked on to date. We have signed a number of social compacts with local municipalities. This is within the areas where we operate in. We have the name of the cluster. Usually the name of the cluster is associated with the plantation in which we operate. However, sometimes the community prefer to use a different name for that. So as you would see there, the name of the clusters may not be directly linked to the plantation. Now, these social compacts have been of mutual benefits to Safcol and to the neighboring communities. This has assisted us in terms of protecting our biological asset in that area. We've established partnership where we bring the communities into our own value chain, and this has worked very well. In a broader scheme of things, the main activities that we are using to drive and uplift communities is through education, health, agriculture, and business development. We have done a number of supplier development support, especially in all the 3 regions, and we are collaborating with the University of Mpumalanga to drive this initiative. We've also done mentorship to most of the up and coming businesses within the areas we operate in. We've also done a lot of agricultural projects. Because we have land, we then encourage the communities to also participate in terms of agroforestry related activities. For instance, we've got beekeeping, specifically in Mpumalanga, Limpopo. We also have projects like the groundnuts, which we are growing within the forest that we have. We've also embarked on projects that are related to social infrastructure. For instance, footbridges. This has helped the communities to move across, let's say school children, for instance. When we have rivers that are overflowing on rainy season, these footbridges have been very beneficial. We've also built health facilities. We've upgraded some schools, and I will talk to some of those projects in the next slide. Our flagship projects that we've done over the year. We've got the Dwaleni Primary School, where we built a classroom. We've got the Mosukwaba Disability Center, the Glory Hill Clinic. This has really benefited the community. We will also give you the impact it has had in that community. This is an example of agroforestry. No matter how small these projects are, they do help the communities. We've heard stories where the communities are saying, we didn't know how to send our kids to school, but now with the vegetables that we are growing, we are becoming commercial. Now we are able to generate money to assist the family and improve our livelihood. Now, in a nutshell, we basically involved in corporate social investment. We've done 9 footbridges. We've got 7 ECD centers. We've got 8 multipurpose centers throughout the 3 regions and the schools. We've upgraded a number of equipment, including classrooms. And then with agroforestry, we have 13 small-scale farmers that we have supported with seedlings, fertilizers, and even garden tools. We've created about 106 job opportunities, including planting of trees, the indigenous trees. As far as the SMMEs are concerned, we have developed 102 SMMEs. Also through the partnership with the university, we've developed silviculture contractors who are now actively participating in our value chain with silviculture activities, such as planting, the pruning of trees. So these entities have become commercial. They are now partners with us in providing sustainable business support. We've also done a lot of mentoring to bring up and coming contractors, especially in the communities where they've never had such exposure to forestry. So we are continuously educating the communities in that regard, and also then take them through our mentorship program. Timber foot bridges. These are simple structures, low capital investment, making a major impact in terms of improving accessibility, especially for school children, but also the local communities. So we are expanding this initiative in all the areas that we operate in because of its simplicity, low capital investment, and the impact it's having in the communities. Now, let's talk about numbers. Here I'm showing you the impact. If you look at the lighter green bars and the darker green, the lighter green is before our intervention. For instance, in that secondary school where we had the library. This is now benefiting more people from 1471 to 1558. The Mayflower footbridge. Again, before our intervention, we had limited number of people, 200, but now that bridge benefits more than 400 people. The Harmony Hill Clinic, there it's a major jump from 1,500 to 2,800 beneficiaries. Clearly, we look at the investment that we brought in there. It's also in the just over 500,000, but we are making a huge impact to benefit more people in that community. Now, our business was also adversely affected by COVID. You can see our corporate social spend did decrease, but now we're slowly building up as the business is being challenged in terms of revenue, but within the budgetary constraints that we have, we continuously improving in terms of the spend. So you can see now we're sitting at about 5.5 million. Now, this slide is talking to, I know there's a lot of information here. The most important message from this slide is that 57% of Safcol plantations are affected by land claims in all the 3 regions that we operate in. So we continuously and actively working with the various departments to unlock the challenges around land claimants. We're working with the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform, Rural Development. We also work closely with DFFE and other smaller departments which are local in nature. So we've said this is a challenge for us. We will proactively manage it by getting involved so that as the process unfolds, we can then bring on board the communities so that they start being part of our value chain. For instance, we have established and supported Black-owned SMEs who are affected by the issue of land, the land that's being claimed. We've provided procurement opportunities. We also provided education so that they can participate in non-forestry project on the unplanted land. We also brought in some commercial partnerships. For instance, we're looking at the mobile sawmill so that those communities can start running commercial projects that are linked to the Safcol value chain. And in that way, then there's mutual beneficiation between the two parties, and we can all grow and we can effect the economic development within those communities. We are actively tracking most of the areas where there are issues of land being claimed. So these are the top ones that we're currently tracking and working with the other departments to unlock the opportunities so that we can start then actively get these communities involved in our projects. So if I may summarize, Chair, Safcol, we've got opportunities, which is we've got challenges, and we've turned those challenges to opportunities. The fact that 57% of the land is under claim, we actively putting in place the model that will enable us to work with the communities, and it will work continuously even post-settlement. As a business, we want to grow our revenue. We utilize 50% of our tree at this point. We want to improve that yield to 95%. So we are busy with strategic partnership so that we can bring in advanced processing beneficiation into the business. So we are attracting funding so that we can make these projects a reality. We also actively involve in terms of transformation and job creation in the value chain of Safcol. We have a product which is really ideal for climate change. So we want to plant more trees. So we are looking for opportunities to take more plantation. As an example, we have now recently signed an SLA with Msunduzi municipality, close to Pietermaritzburg. This is a new area that we've not operated in, but because we have the skill set, we have the know-how, we have now partnered with the municipality. So we want more of those projects, and hopefully this can be extended on a long-term basis. Now, the major challenges, as we have already indicated, is the land claims. The challenge is that the process is too slow, although we are doing all that we can to expedite it and make sure it doesn't impact the forestry business negatively. The other challenge that we're facing as this is an industry problem, timber theft, which is really destroying value in the national assets. We've just done an exercise to just quantify the impact of timber theft. In the past 3 years, we've lost about 200 million. And this is really key for us to address. We are collaborating with industry. We're looking at security, which will be technology driven. We're also working with the university and students to come up with solutions that would be innovative, but it's more about technology. We need to bring in technology so that we can monitor our plantations effectively. So that this work is ongoing at this point. And then we've got climate change, which is also a challenge. Sometimes it leads to wildfires because of the excessive heat. But we're saying we have a solution, because the more trees we plant, we then impact climate change in a positive way, because we can then trap the carbon, reduce emissions to the atmosphere. Now, furthermore, our R&D here has done a lot of work. So we have trees now that can be grown and adapted to various climatic conditions. such that you have a tree that will be resistant to drought, resistant to diseases, and also then have a contribution towards climate change. Another big challenge that we are facing is the aging technology and equipment. We have embarked on a program where it's a catch up here, because over the years, we've been operating really with outdated technology, but we're slowly upgrading our facilities so that it becomes the state of the art and it can improve efficiencies. Obviously, this needs investment as well, and it does impact our ability to be more efficient and agile, but it's work in progress. We've brought in mechanization, we're upgrading our timber dollar facility. So over the years to come, we will soon get the technology in place and start operating efficiently, especially in those areas where it's outdated. So what we're saying then, members of the committee, we want to access more plantations, one of them being those that are being run by the Department of Forest, Fisheries and Environment. We and the municipalities, we saying we do have the know-how, we can make a meaningful contribution in this space. It's in line with our strategy to grow. It's part of horizontal integration. So we will be working with the municipalities and the DFFE to take advantage of these opportunities, because then it will enable us to make a further impact, because most of these plantations are in rural areas. And the whole idea is to bring the economic activity in those rural areas and uplift the communities. So the more plantations we have in rural areas, the more impact we can contribute in terms of uplifting the development in those areas. Thank you, Chair. I can then take questions.
Chair, back to you. If there are any questions, that's the end of our story, Chair and honorable members.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson of the board, and thank you to the executive that did the presentation. Let's now take the comments and questions from the honorable members. Members, I will identify you once you raise your hands. If you have any questions or comments that you wish to make here. I see the hand of Honorable Magwala.
Yes, Chairperson.
Yeah, just hold on. I'm just wanting to check if we have other members. Okay, I don't see anyone raising a hand here on the platform. So let's allow you, Honorable Magwala, to ask your question.
Thank you, Chairperson. Let me first greet the department and the board of Safcol that is in the meeting and doing the presentation. Greet the members that are in the meeting. Chairperson, mine is to first ask clarity question, man, in terms of this presentation that is presented here, that was on the slide. We didn't receive such presentation, but the presentation that we got is something else, or in terms of how it was designed. And this one that they presented, he had more information in terms of giving graphics and everything in terms of that. But here and that, I just had to grab questions along the way while the person was doing the presentation. So I've got some few clarity questions. First one, I see that they are operating mostly in 3 provinces, and I want to ask what is the reason, because I see they are operating in Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and KZN, in which they are doing a very good job there. And in terms of, and when they will be able to expand into other 6 provinces, or have I missed something in terms of them, but I only see they're only speaking about 3 provinces. And then I see that in their good work that they are doing, they're building bridges. And I will also agree that if they were also operating like in provinces like Eastern Cape, where children, they are going to school, they have to cross big rivers in terms of those bridges that they are building to support the community there in terms of the children as well. It will assist. And then in terms of the land claims that they are assisting in these three provinces, it all goes down to the first question, because land claims are a problem across the whole country. In terms of claims and people that need to be assisted in terms of those land claims, because of them only operating in 3 regions, so the other people are not assisted by this company. And then I don't know if I heard properly on a chairperson, because that's why, as I'm saying, that when you don't have the presentation forehand in front of you, you can't pinpoint. I think when I heard when they presented, they said a timber theft of 250 million. I just need more clarity in terms of that. And then now they are saying that in the last, I think in the last, when they were speaking lastly, in terms of access to more plantation, this plantation that they want to access, especially in rural areas, that is that the fisheries in terms of that. I want him to elaborate more, because if they can be able to expand, or they want to expand their scope, or they want more access where that department is in charge of in terms of that. I think I've tried to clarify the questions that I had. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Makwala. I'm trying to check if we have another hand. Oh, we have the hand of Honorable Tebuko. Mamorobelo, can we give you a chance also to comment and raise your questions, Honorable One?
Thank you very much, Chair, and greetings to you and the members on platform, and also the board and our parliament staff and the department. Also greet the minister in absentia. I think he was here with us. Chair, I would want to ask a question. I want to understand if also there is one plantation that is around Vetvlug area in Limpopo. Vetvlug area on the N1 going to Musina, between Musina and Letrikat. I want to understand if that also falls under the board in terms of ownership, because it's in the farms going to your rural areas of around Njerere in Makado municipality. Also want to understand how do they monitor their procurement system if they also own that part, because we had a challenge, because that's the province that I'm coming from. There was I think one black person that was also working, because I heard them. I'm just getting tempted because they spoke about procurement opportunities there. Because I think there is one black person that is participating in those areas in terms of transportation, taking your timber from one point to the other. That had a challenge where, because it's dominated mainly by white people, that industry. Just to check if they do, are they monitoring on how many blacks do they have on that part, on the issues of transportation, and also on the part of their requirements, because I think mainly they what can I say, victimize them on just making the requirements that sometimes are just not really there. But I just want to understand. But if they can just say it does not fall under them, then I would understand. But if it falls under them, they can answer me those questions. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank
Yeah.
you, Honorable Mama Robela. Thank you so much. I don't see any further hands. Maybe before we give back the board to answer these questions, I also just want to ask a few questions. The first question is that it's linked to the fact that your operations are limited to 3 provinces, and I understand that it could be because of forestry tribes in those 3 provinces at a grand scale. We know that those provinces are actually endowed with a very good forestry plantations, and therefore wood becomes one of the critical resources that and products and byproducts that are commercialized for usage in the country as well as for export. Now, my first question is linked to the fact that you are a national body, and I think Honorable Magwala tried to emphasize this point that I am sure that this asset that you are presiding over is a national asset. How do you ensure that there is a spread in terms of the benefits to our communities beyond the 3 provinces, especially that the consumption of the products and the byproducts that are made from these forestries, they are actually utilized across the country? Is there a way wherein you ensure that you spread your CSI program to have an impact across the country? Of course, we understand that the majority of those resources that flows from your CSI must actually make an impact in the immediate areas of your operation. That's number 1. Number 2, linked to that, and to be quite specific on the education front, I want to understand if you do have a bursary scheme as Safcol to finance local students who are interested in forestry and related industry, kind of academic, pursuance. That's a second sub question. The second question is, I want to understand if to date has any of the successful land claimants received their title deeds and any compensation as a result of their successful land claims. It would be critical to understand this because I know that there are communities that have been waiting for too long, that things do not get processed for one reason or the other that is related to bureaucracy and red tape. And this is quite frustrating because if a claim is successful, one would expect that those are actually expedited for the benefit and the interest of our people. And then lastly, the last question is really linked to transformation. How far can we say we have gone in terms of transformation? Can we really say that transformation has really happened to the extent that it talks to the restoration of some of these plantations to the African majority, if I may put it that way? Let me make the very, very, very last question, very, very last. Sorry to do this, but I think I have to do it. Right from the start of your presentation, you made an indication that you are a 1.2 billion business. I want to understand that 1.2 billion. Is that the value of the plantations, or you are referring to the annual turnover that the business has, or you are actually referring to these plantations that they would be worth 1.2 in their totality, which is something that I doubt at all. Maybe what you need to do is to give us a sense of the estimate of the value of the entire assets, including your turnover, because I think your goodwill from a point of view of the assets that you have in the form of these plantations, with projections, of course, for the lifespan that talks to decades and decades to come, it should be something that is worth a couple of billions. It can't just be limited to 1.2 billion. You will correct me if I heard you wrongly. Chairperson of the board, I think we will give it back to you so that you can then help us to clarify the questions that we have raised. We now give you an opportunity to deal with that. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Before handing over to the CEO, although I see a hand, Chair, I'm not sure if
no, that's a legacy hand. She has since dropped it. Yeah.
Firstly, Chair, just a general comment about why Safcol finds itself in 3 provinces. If you look at the history, the CEO will add here, the history of Safcol is what was left from what was privatized. All other parts were then sold, and we ended up with Safcol. That's the first historical aspect. We had recently had engagement with the department through the minister, where we said we must try to develop a concept note to say, how do we consolidate a state forestry? Because you'll find that there are those who are owned by the Department of Agriculture and others. So then Safcol, in the new restructure of SOEs, can be the home of a forestry on behalf of the state. And that said, let me ask the CEO and the team to respond to the details of the question. Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you, Chair. Maybe I will try and answer some of them, but I will also ask my colleagues to come through. I would ask the acting COO to talk to the question from Honorable Devoho in terms of the plantation around Limpopo. And then I will ask the CFO to talk to the company financials in terms of the value. And then on land claims, Mr. Chiwa, you can at least talk to the details of where we've made successes. Okay, so I think in terms of Safcol, I agree with Chair, it's historical. We ended up with the only main operating entity being the Komatiland forest operation, which is basically based in Mpumalanga. So we are now saying we want to build and expand our offering, because over the years we've shown that we've got the skills. Hence, then we are talking to DFFE on those plantations that they have, and the municipality. So that's why we are lobbying hard to say, let's be given that opportunity and rebuild this portfolio. But it's mainly historical where we're finding ourselves. So I've answered the question then, Honorable Makola, in terms of why we are only operating in 3 regions, and we have the desire to expand. We will continuously work on that. As indicated in terms of the bridges, it's really a low-hanging fruit. So once we operate in those regions, I think we will make a meaningful impact because we'll be able to then support all these initiatives and then bringing the communities into the value chain. Obviously, we're always willing to collaborate where we can with limited funding. If we can fund such initiatives, I think we can then look into those other areas. But at this point, we limited by the budget constraint, and hence we're limiting it to where we're operating. The timber theft, this is a serious challenge that we've had. We've tried to quantify it over the 3-year period that we've been monitoring it. So we're talking about a figure of 200 million. We need a collaboration from all fronts here. It's also, I would say, issues of law enforcement and making sure that when we report cases, the criminals are prosecuted and locked away. The police are highlighting that being a challenge. So we're working from all fronts. And then as an industry, working with Forestry South Africa, that's where all the major players in the timber industry participate in. We're saying let's also collaborate. We are actually looking at how can we share the security resources so that it becomes cost effective, maybe looking at a centralized control room. We share information and combat this in a collaborative manner, because most of these plantations are next door to each other. We've done it with fires. We are able, whenever there's a fire, we bring all the parties together and fight it successfully. So we are saying we can use a similar approach with timber theft. Obviously, we bring in technology. So that's why we're now working with the universities to come up with innovative solutions. Okay, then the other questions, before I allow my other colleagues to come through, I think we've answered the question in terms of 3 provinces. The byproducts from you, Chair, basically our main products, we sell timber, which is an open process. We make it available to the industry at large, including up and coming Black-owned companies. They participate in this open tender process. We are able to also provide multi-year contracts to the transformed companies, that is between level 1 and level 3. We also provide favorable payment terms. I mean, they can pay us within 60 days as opposed to the 30 days. This is our effort to then bring in industrialists into our operations so that they can later start competing with the big companies. We then have also looked at other value-adding initiatives. For instance, in Timber Dollar, we, as I indicated, we process the whole tree. Normally gives us, we get a value of 50% of that whole tree that is processed. Then we have a lot of sawdust, we have a lot of residue. So we have now partnered with a company that will produce electricity from the residue. So this is a stream that never used to have value. We're bringing in value. We now can produce clean energy from the residue. And that will mean that Timber Dollar will have a sustainable electricity supply, in the process creating value. And in the process as well, we will then create opportunities where communities can help us to transport the residue from the plantations as well into the processing facilities. So the scope is growing, and there will be more beneficiaries coming out of that process. We're also then looking at other high value initiatives which would require investment. For instance, we're looking at cellulose nanocrystal, CNC, high value product, but it's quite capital intensive, but the returns are good. So this will be a long-term project. But also that, once you go into that project, then you start creating more jobs within the areas where we'll be operating in. With education in terms of bursaries, yes, we do have bursaries, and we give preference to students within the areas where we operate. So we have a number of learners that have gone through our system, and today they are foresters, some of them. We've got quite a number of people who have gone through the pipeline that we have. Okay, so I would then ask maybe the acting COO, Mr. Mkobane, to talk about the plantation, and then he will be followed by Mr. Chiwa in terms of the land claimants. And then transformation, Hazel, you can come through there. And then the CFO will talk to the financials in terms of the value of the business. Thank you, Chair. I can hand over then to first the acting CEO, Mr. Mkobane.
Morning, Chair, and morning, members, and morning, colleagues. So I need just to confess that my network is not so clear, but in terms of the question of the plantations around Limpopo, those are part of those sections that still belong to the department. So the plantation belongs to the department, DFFE, is not part of Safcol plantation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mkobane. Mr. Chua, you can come through.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair, and good morning, members. I'm going to focus on the question raised by the Chair. If there's any land claim that has received their title deed, let me just to put things in a context here. Let me indicate that as much as the land claim it's a challenge, but I think also it is an opportunity for us as a company to partner with these communities and to integrate them in our value chain, because our ultimate goal is to access more land and continue to do our forestry business. And what we are doing as Safcol is to engage with the Land Claims Commission and all the claims that are affecting our land. We have what we call a proactive community engagement model. This is where we engage with all communities prior, just to make them understand what the forestry business is all about, but we also involve them in our CSI project. And over and above that, we also have an approved settlement model, which is what we are planning to implement it once the land claim it's settled or it's transferred to our communities. And now, to be precise, if you saw on our slide, there are a number of communities, which is about 6 of them. They are part of a group of 44 land claims that are affecting our land. These are the ones whose land claims are at an advanced stage. The land will be, the transfer of the land, it's very much imminent. For example, we've got the Entabeni. The land is not transferred to them, but we are engaging them already. We have awarded them a logistic contract. We've got the Mamashola in Zanin. This is a classical example where the land has been transferred to the community. It has been transferred in title. We are paying rental to this community every month. They are the owners of the land. And secondly, we have also awarded them a silviculture contract where we have employed 20 people from the same community. We have recently also built them an ECT center as part of our CSI program. It will be handed over very soon. I understand the structure is complete. And then in Mpumalanga, we've got the Kapse Work community, we've got the Makubu community. All these are at an advanced stage. The land claim process has been completed. What is outstanding is for the land to be transferred to them. And as Safcol is already, we have commenced with the negotiation of the lease of the land. And as soon as it is transferred, will then, instead of paying DFFE, the land will be paid directly to this community. And then in KZN as well, we've got one claim that is affecting our government plantation. What is outstanding there from the land claim side is just the verification of the communities. And then we'll start engaging the commission on how do we work together with this community once the land is transferred to them. So in a nutshell, Chair, we do have the Mamatola, the land has been transferred to them, we're paying rental to them, and over and above that, we are engaging them on commercial activities. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Kiwa. Can I ask then Hazel to talk to transformation?
Unmute, Hazel. Unmute.
Hazel.
Unmute. Hazel, unmute.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really sorry for that. Good morning to the honorable members, the board members, and the executives present this morning. I will address the issue of transformation. We do believe as Safcol that transformation is a journey. We are progressing very well, as our acting CEO has indicated when he started the presentation. We are sitting on level 2, meaning level 1 is the best one. We are on second best, which is level 2. Over the years, we have improved from level 4. At some stage, we were level 5, and now we are sitting on level 2 for 2 consecutive years. We have been audited by a SANAS accredited company, and those are the results that we got. I do want to indicate to you, honorable members, that in terms of preferential procurement or procurement opportunities at Safcol, we have over the past years achieved our shareholder compact. We have done business where we've done, I think, more than 80%, I'm sure, more than 80% of the procurement spend is on Black people or companies that are owned by Black people. So we are doing progressively well. We can do better. There's always room for improvement, I do believe, but I think we've done extremely well. Thank you very much.
No, thanks, Hazel. CFO, if you can come through for the one on financials.
Thank you, CE, and thank you, Chair, and honorable members. Just in response to the question about the value of the company, the audited financial statements for FY23 that was referenced in the presentation indicates that we do have a turnover of 1.2 million. So, billion, sorry, 1.2 billion. And that is what was referenced in the slide. And then just to give the further detail, the value of the biological asset as requested is at the end of FY23 was 4.6 billion rand. So the value of the asset is significantly higher than the turnover. But I think in the slide it was referencing just the sales and turnover for the year. Thank you.
Thanks,
If I may just add, Chair, to conclude the answers. The land, it's a big issue for Safcol. From a risk point of view, we don't have our own land, as some of these assets of forestry are either in land which is still under claim or which has already been claimed, or Department of Agriculture and Fisheries. Fishery has been removed. So that still remains a challenge. Secondly, on the sort of turnover, we've just developed a 5-year strategy which looked into taking Safcol to 3 up to 5 billion over 5 years in terms of turnover. So let me pause there, Chair. Over to you.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. I know that answering questions of honorable members will never be a conclusive exercise. Answers to questions give birth to more questions. But I think for what you have provided at this point, I think it suffices, Chairperson, as well as CEO and other executives. But it would be good that on the basis of the questions that we have asked, when you go back to work, maybe you need to assist us to to further answering those questions by actually going at length in terms of dealing with some of the issues that we have raised. The issue of the value of the organization, but also the issue of the assets. For instance, are these assets insured? If they are not insured, what would be the instrument that would be used to make an intervention if a disaster was to happen, whether it's a natural disaster or a man-made disaster? Because you are dealing with an asset which is a flammable asset, if I may put it that way. When wildfires hit, you get exposed. We would love to know what would be the mitigating factors when you face such conditions. So as I say that you don't have to respond to that, but we are giving you a takeaway to go and strengthen that. And also we would love to get the precise costs of the spend that we have taken insofar as your CSI program. We want to understand the percentage ratio of your actual amount of money that we have spent on your corporate social investment. We like specifics. We don't like to be given answers in broad terms. But also when you point out on transformation, much as we agree that it is a journey, it is not something that could be done as an event, but want to know and understand that from your strategic point of view, for each and every annual performance plan, we need to see the achievements and what are the targets so that we can see that there's an improvement from one year to the other. Otherwise, if it is answered in those broad terms, 10 years later, we would see that the movement is very small and minimal to a point that it would be even less than a percentage. So we want to see something that we can point at and say, we have transformed this one. And it is working like charm, and it is doing what we want to see happening in terms of our developmental goals. That is what we require. So with those words, Chairperson, we wish to express our deep felt gratitude for you to have come to make a presentation to this committee, and we're looking forward to another engagement, perhaps in the new financial year, and we wish you all the best. May you achieve all what you have set yourselves for the year 2024-2025 financial year. Thank you. All the best, Chairperson, and your board.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honorable members. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, you may be excused, Chairperson, so we will attend to other items on our agenda here today.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Amanda, I just wanted to check in respect of our second item on the agenda, if we do form a quorum so that we can look into the question, into the minutes of the previous meeting.
No, Chair, we do not have a quorum, so we can adjourn the meeting.
No, I was not asking you to delve into that.
Sorry, Chair, apologies.
Yeah, you are jumping the gun now.
Apologies.
Honorable members, the Secretariat is saying that we do not have a quorum. We don't constitute a quorum, which makes it difficult for us now to make a decision, because the decision can only be legit if all the members, the threshold that is required in terms of attendance is there. So in that respect, I would request the members to allow me to use my own prerogative to adjourn this meeting, and we will look into these minutes in our next meeting. I hope you understand, members. You have enough experience to understand that if the quorum is not there, then there's nothing we can do about it. It's a season of soppers. So many of our members are attending their respective provincial engagements. as you know that we also have membership in the provincial legislature by virtue of representing provinces at this level. So that being said, members, come again?
No, I was saying okay.
Okay, no, thank you very much then, members, for your contributions in this engagement with the department. And this was actually a very meaningful meeting, and thank you for your deliberations and inputs. Thank you so much, members. We shall indicate in due course as to when will be our next engagement. Thank you. Have a lovely day. The meeting is adjourned.
Bye, Chair.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, comrades.